Thank you for coming. My name is David Coon. I'm the leader of the Green Party. I want to introduce two of our local candidates today who are with me, Wayne Dreyer, the member or the candidate for St. John Harbour, and John Sabin, the candidate for Hampton. I should go from that side to this side and then it would be clearer. So thank you, Wayne and John, for joining me. We're, of course, in Wayne's riding here. This is a follow-up announcement, in a sense, with the theme we launched at the beginning of the week with the rollout of our job creation and economic development strategy. We have 4 themes, and one of the key planks in the job creation strategy is to help make New Brunswick more self-reliant so that more of the things we buy are manufactured or produced in New Brunswick, and that keeps money circulating in our own economy, creating jobs here rather than elsewhere. And practically how we will do that is by instituting an import replacement strategy to look at what kinds of imports, what kinds of goods and services we're currently importing that we can produce and supply here to keep that money in our economy and create more jobs inside New Brunswick rather than creating jobs outside of our province. And the first place to start clearly is with food. We all spend a considerable portion of our budget on food, and if we produce more food locally and consume more food locally, both as in our restaurants, such as the St. John Ale House here, which specializes in its menu in using ingredients from locally produced food from across the province, which is tremendous, and a trend we're seeing increasingly, whether it's processors, whether it's farmers supplying food from the, food from the field directly to consumers or through our markets or through the whole new retail sector that is developing, specializing in local food and increasingly organic food. That is tremendously powerful. For example, if people just spent $10 of their weekly food budget on more local food, $10, that would put $30 million into the New Brunswick economy every year. Think of the jobs and the work and business opportunities that would create. So just $10 a week of your existing local food or your existing food budget, your existing grocery budget devoted into, or diverted into purchasing local food. $30 million in your economy. So imagine if it were more than that. Imagine if most of what we purchased were produced locally, what that would do for driving our economy, for creating jobs and creating work, and particularly strengthening our local economies all around, whether it's St. John on the retail side, the processing side, the restaurant side, or whether it's in our rural areas on the production side and the processing side. So the power of that is tremendous, and the way the Green Party would drive this is with the introduction of a bill, an act called New Brunswick's Local Food Security Act. And that bill would have clear goals and objectives and a schedule for moving increasingly the percentage of food that is produced, that is consumed in New Brunswick, to local food, and increasingly to organic food. So we would see over time, by setting these targets and schedules, increasing amounts of local food available for people, whether it's in the retail sector, whether it's in restaurants, grocery stores, or processed food, and increasingly organic. And to achieve that, there's a number of things we would do. To help kickstart it, we would work where government has some direct ability to influence this, and that is with the purchasing of food by hospitals, schools, universities, our prisons, and of course government departments to bring about increasing purchase and consumption at that level to really kickstart the whole process. The Act would also put in place and require labeling of local food to give our producers and our processors and those who sell and provide those foods in their stores and restaurants an advantage. So people clearly know when they're getting local food, as they do now with organic food, because there's the Canadian organic label, which tells people that, but we don't have such a labeling program for local food. So the Green Party would do that. This Local Food Security Act would drive job creation across New Brunswick, would drive the development of new business opportunities both in our cities and our rural areas. I'm very excited about its potential, and that is a bill that, as the leader of the Green Party, I would introduce on the floor of the legislature, should I be chosen by the people of Fredericton South to represent them, and the bill that our caucus, that we're hoping to go into the legislature with, would certainly bring forward. So that's the key way of kickstarting a move towards becoming more economically self-reliant and strengthening our local economies in New Brunswick and creating local jobs for local people and local business opportunities for New Brunswick businesses and New Brunswick entrepreneurs. That's step one, and that's what we're announcing today. We're rolling out our whole platform on September the 3rd in Fredericton, and of course it's fully costed, and the full details, the nitty-gritties will be in the platform once Elections New Brunswick has received our costing, which will happen tomorrow. I want to ask Wayne, since this is his riding, and thank you for hosting me here today, Wayne, to say a few words about the importance of local food and local food security generally in St. John.
Well, I guess the one thing that I want to say is when I was campaigning last week, one of my supporters said, "I'm voting green because I'm trying to live green." And one of the ways that here in this riding, people are trying to live green is through the Queen Square Market that happens every Sunday here in Queen Square. And it's a way for local producers to connect with local buyers and do just what you said, Dave, to support each other so that those who have the economic resources to spend are actually spending it within their own community. It's a great way for us to demonstrate the connection between a rural and urban community and a way that we can build the economy together. It's a green economy that supports each other, and everything is kept local.
So New Brunswickers have a clear choice in this election, and that is between choosing a party that's got a hopeful vision, that's got a positive vision for a new and greener economy, or for the other parties who are really still stuck looking backwards at the old gray economy and continue to perpetuate that notion of economic development. We're focused on the economic development of our local communities, creating jobs in our local communities and making sure that work is meaningful and increasingly green work that in the end benefits us all, and in the case of food, of course, not just economically, but providing us with healthy food. So can you imagine if our hospitals all were serving local food and more organic food, what that would contribute to health care and helping make healthier people in the end. Thanks very much, and we'll take questions.